So my name is Monica Toussaint. I'm a junior at the University of Minnesota and I'm studying nursing. So growing up, I lived with my family, which consisted of my mom, my dad, my brother. We lived in a suburb of Minnesota. We were a Christian family. We would go to church. We had a lot of things going for us. We enjoyed sports and activities, and my parents were very successful in the corporate world. So from the outside looking in, we looked really good. But Jesus was more of a chore for me. It wasn't something I enjoyed pursuing. I had no idea what it meant to have a personal relationship with God. And it wasn't until my parents got a divorce that this really, I knew that I was missing something and things felt really heavy in my life. I felt like it was my responsibility to sort of be the glue, keep the peace, mediate my parents' relationship, and that was really tiring and also impossible for me to do on my own. But the Lord's timing is perfect, and that is when a friend of mine invited me to go to her youth group with her. I had been to church, like I said before, but this was like a totally new experience for me. All the kids I was around were super excited to be there, to learn about Jesus, and that was something I had never experienced. So it was perfect timing. I loved it, and I kept going, and it was slow and gradual, but the Lord began to change my heart, and I'm just really grateful for that. So definitely growing up, I found a lot of identity in being able to do a lot and to do it well. Coming to college, I found I could no longer manage all that, and my definition of God had to expand to fit that. And as I've continued to pursue Him and be a leader and be in Bible studies and be challenged by close friends and just unique circumstances, I was putting limits on God where I shouldn't have been, and He's so much bigger than I even think He is today. And all the many ways that He's provided for me in small and big, and getting assignments canceled, and in providing me with a community that's just so loving and so rich and has grown me so deeply. I think a lot of these past couple of years have been me developing my theology and really understanding why I believe what I believe, where it comes from, why it's solid truth that can be stood upon. And I think that's been really good, and it's also been really challenging to incorporate the emotional aspect or part of that, and not making God just another subject that I study, but a deep personal being that loves me and I should love Him. And so I think that's the ways that I've been growing currently, or since coming to college, for sure. Definitely the biggest way I've struggled since coming to college is just experiencing doubt, coming up against questions that I feel are really big, and not knowing an easy answer to those has been really difficult for my soul to find rest in. And that hasn't been easy, and it hasn't always made me want to continue pursuing. If I'm being really honest, it has made me feel not genuine at times, being a leader and having my whole life revolve around something that I don't feel solid in. But I've also felt the sweetness of continuing to press in on those situations, and just being reaffirmed in the character of God, in things that I've seen Him do, and to know that He'll do them again. I feel once you know God, your whole perception of the world has to change. It can't stay the same. So the way I view the world and relationships has been radically changed. I think I both value them infinitely more and infinitely less. I don't put my value in them, but I get a lot of joy from those things. The biggest thing that's brought me so much joy is being able to shed His light on others, and being able to receive that in return has been super beautiful. So whether I continue to do that through ministry or through working as a nurse, I don't know. I'm excited to do both of them. Some scripture that's been important to me throughout my journey, one of them being James 1:6. It says, a wave of the sea that's been being driven and tossed by the wind. That's something that I very much could relate to pre-believing in Jesus, and even sometimes after being a follower but not putting my trust in Him. letting my circumstances and like my perception of my circumstances dictate how I'm feeling, why I'm feeling that way, and just like everything else I do that day. And it's not a way to live. It's very inconsistent. It's very tiring and exhausting. But like I've been anchored in like knowing who God is and making Philippians 4:4 like a discipline for me, knowing that like I can rejoice in the Lord always, and like I can bring my thoughts to Him through prayer and supplication. Like the peace of God that surpasses all knowledge will guard your heart in Christ Jesus. Like making that a practice every time I get good at it or I get cocky, like I'm always humbled by a new circumstance and like learning how to give that to God. Another verse that I've just like really enjoyed is John 16:33. It says, "For I said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." This verse just like reminds me of the hope that I can have in Jesus, and how knowing that things are temporary is like a really beautiful, freeing truth that like should make you want to dance and like love Jesus and the way that He made things so perfectly. Through those verses, I've come to know God as like a comforter in times of like deep grief, lamenting like separation of my family or my inability to fix things or do things that I want, a counselor in times of feeling lost, unsure of like what truth is in my doubts and like how to abide by it if I'm not positive in it, co-worker in pursuing His grace and spreading His love not only to others but to myself, and constant through absolutely every change that life has brought me. New houses, new step-family, new schools, new friends, new sin struggles, new doubts. He has remained comforter. He's